Break the lug nuts free before lifting the wheel off the ground. Use a breaker bar with a 19mm socket. Apply the handbrake. Chalk the back wheels to prevent the car from rolling. Raise the front of the car and support it on jack stands. Check your owner's manual to see where to place the jack stands under the chassis of the car. Lifting the car from an improper point can cause damage. Remove the 19mm lug bolts and wheel. Slide the wheel under the chassis for extra safety. Turn the steering wheel to face the caliper out of the wheel well. Remove the dust caps to expose the 7mm Allen heads of the slide pins. You may need to use a flathead screwdriver. Remove the caliper slide pins with a 7mm Allen bit. You may need to use a flathead screwdriver to push the head of the slide pin past the rubber bushing. Remove the bleeder screw cover. Loosen, but do not completely remove, the bleeder screw with an 11mm wrench. Remove the two 15mm bolts for the caliper bracket. Remove the caliper bracket. Pull the caliper free from the rotor. Tie the caliper to the suspension or to the body with a bungee cord or wire without disconnecting from the brake hose to avoid stressing the brake lines. Check the brake caliper bracket, brake caliper guide pins, and boots. Clean them and replace if necessary. Remove the 10mm bolt that secures the rotor to the hub. Remove the rotor from the wheel hub. Please wear eye protection and a face mask when brushing or cleaning parts, including brackets. Use the wire brush to remove rust and buildup. Apply some anti-seize compound to the clean hub. This will make the rotor easier to remove in the future. It is good practice to compare your old and new brake rotor to make sure they are the same size and diameter. Install the rotor onto the hub. Reinstall the 10mm bolt that secures the rotor to the hub. Tighten the bolt to 10 Nm. Use pliers to detach the brake caliper retaining spring. Remove the outer brake pad from the caliper. Leave the inner brake pad in place. Use a 100mm C-clamp or a caliper piston tool to retract the caliper piston as far as possible. Catch the brake fluid escaping from the bleeder with a drip pan and dispose of it properly. Remove the old inner brake pad. Use a wire brush to clean the brake caliper bracket from rust and buildup. Apply high-temperature brake grease to the back of the pads where they will contact the caliper. Avoid getting the grease on the friction surface or the rotor surface. It's important to be careful not to apply too much, as this could cause other problems such as contaminating the friction surface and inhibiting smooth sliding and movement. Install the new inner brake pad. Remove any old buildup on the bolt with a wire brush. Add thread locking compound to both bolts. Reinstall the brake caliper bracket with its two 15mm bolts. Tighten the bolts to 100 Nm. Insert the outer pad and reassemble the caliper over the rotor. Grease the slides. Reinstall the slides and tighten the 7mm Allen bit to 30 Nm. Snap the dust boot caps back into place. Install the brake caliper retaining spring. Press the brake pedal multiple times until the fluid flows out of the bleeder valve smoothly without any air bubbles. Tighten the bleeder screw to 9 Nm. Clean up excess fluid. Reinstall the bleeder screw cover. Reinstall the wheel over the hub and align the mounting holes. Insert the lug bolts and lightly tighten them. Slowly lower and remove the jack. Use a 19mm socket with a torque wrench. Tighten the bolts in a star pattern to 140 Nm. Without starting the engine, press the brake pedal several times until you feel significant resistance. Check the brake fluid level and refill if necessary. Remove the wheel chock. Disengage the handbrake.